Hey, sorry for so segmented that this video is for this update on the Jeep. I've been working on it here and there when I have an hour or two to myself over the last couple weeks. So some of these videos are kind of chopped together as far as an update. So we're gonna go ahead and show you where we're at with it and give you an update. So here we go. Okay, here's an updated video for the Jeep. So I have gone ahead and replaced the internal components on all four brakes already. Just to kind of briefly give you a reason on why I did not record that. It's been extremely hot here in the southeast. The day that I did it, it was about 95 degrees outside. I thought I could get this done in about an hour and a half. It ended up taking me 5 hours because of all the rust and pitting and parts that hadn't been moved in 50 plus years. So I had to fight it. I was able to complete it. So the front brakes are done. The rear brakes are done. What I ended up doing was I actually replaced the shoes on the front, the wheel cylinders, and the springs. And on the back, I did the wheel cylinders and the springs only because the pads in the back look brand new still. Even though they are older, it's at least at a minimum 40 years old, based on the history that I have on the Jeep, but they looked absolutely brand new and untouched. So I just went ahead and left those in place for now. So one thing that happened while I was doing this is the brake lines are rusted. So when I replaced these wheel cylinders in the back, the old brake lines basically, when I went to unscrew them from the cylinder, twisted off completely. The 3/8 fitting that's on here broke completely off. So I have since decided to go ahead and replace all the brake lines. Just seems like a smart idea based on the age of the vehicle. They don't want to get on the road and find out that I don't have brakes. I ended up ordering a kit off the internet. These are not, they're all American made and, produced here in the United States, brake lines. I did not order them from KW. I ended up ordering them from another vendor online, and I will get that information to y'all as soon as possible. But I ordered them. They ended up charging me about $170 with shipping for the set, but it is the correct set to the correct length with all the correct fittings with the double flare on there. So tonight I'm in the process of starting that. So we're going to see how far we get with a few things. The plan is to show y'all the brake systems. I've got to rebuild these knuckles in here eventually as well. That's one of the next things that's going to happen the next year or so when we do the body. That is going to be next as well. And basically the plan is I'm going to take the brake systems apart. I'll record taking it apart and putting it back together again in conjunction with the video that I do on the knuckles. So you can see how that looks. Now, it won't be the old parts that'll be in there. It'll all be new parts. However, you will be able to see how that goes together from start to finish. So right now, what I'm working on is I'm going to be replacing. I'm starting on the front lines. This is the old line that was on there. It was the old rubber line. It's supposed to have some, some movement to it. You can see that it is very, it's old. It's stiff. This fitting also would not come loose. The line just twisted straight off. And you can see the difference between the new S lines that go on there and this old one that was put on there that was probably replaced sometime in the lifetime of the Jeep, and someone just kind of bent it to make it work. So it's not the prettiest. So I've got this one off. We're going to go ahead and install this and this new line on there as well, and then just kind of work from the front to the back. And I will show you what that looks like when we're done. Okay, so here we are working on the back brakes now. I'm trying to get these brake lines installed on the rear. Run into a little bit of an issue here. Again, 70 years worth of usage and wear has caused an issue. So this junction that's here is for this flexible brake hose that goes between the rear axle and the rear cross member right there. That's the hole that it mounts in. I had to break this brake line and I had to break that brake line. I've got a new flexi hose to go in here, but what we need is we need this junction piece. It's a T that comes, it basically mounts to the back rear differential and runs to each side laterally, left and right. So I was able to get the driver's side loose, but this right here is seized up. So I'm gonna have to either put some vice grips on it, or I'm gonna see if I can fit a 12-point wrench on it to get it out of there. If we can't salvage this, I'm gonna have to replace it, which I don't have one, so I'll have to order it. All right, here we are. It only took me a little over 2 weeks to get everything done. So just gonna go over the brake line components that I can replace so far. Again, we'll talk about the brake internals when we do the knuckle rebuilds. But cylinders have been replaced on the inside. The S-hooks have been replaced, or basically our flexi hose that goes between the knuckle and the axle housing has been replaced. We've done all the lines across the top. You can see how clean those are. They are pre-bent hoses, which make them look very nice. They are gonna get painted when I do the knuckles. You can see that's done. I did have some trouble here on this front bracket. This bracket at one time or another got hit by something very hard, and it bent it all the way back, almost 50 degrees from where it's at now. It's still not 100%, but I was able to get it pulled out enough where it's functional. So I had to kind of finagle this line a good bit. It is a pre-bent hose again, but I had to, the bends would not work with the way that the Jeep has changed over the past 70 years. So that line runs all the way back. We have also installed our new master cylinder. I've got it hooked up to the brake pedal. I had to run a new line also, a long line that went through here, comes back across this cross member, runs underneath this channel inside the frame, back to a new flexi hose, and again, same thing on the rear, all pre-bent, very good looking hoses, and each one's running to a new wheel cylinder on either side. So next thing I'm gonna do, if you're wondering what this is more parts. I just stuck it there so I wouldn't lose it. Next thing we're gonna do is I'll probably do a video in conjunction, the brake bleeding line, you know, bleeding the brakes portion of this. I'll have some assistance with that. I'll have somebody pump the brakes, and I'll show that process for those who don't know how to do that. And then I've got to get this rear, I've got to get the ring gear bolts back in. I've got a replacement ring gear bolt in one of those FedEx packages. I've got to do that and then refill the oil on that. And then from there, it is just waiting until we get our new body ordered in January. I know that's a long ways off. However, I, again, have to save money up for that portion of it. That's going to be a substantial purchase. We're looking at about, you know, $2,700, $2,800 for the body and delivery. So if you have any questions, concerns, anything, let me know. I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone has. You know, there are some other little small ancillary items I'm going to work on in this thing in the meantime before the body is in January, and I'll add subsequent little short videos on YouTube for that. But that's where we're at with the brake lines. If you have any questions? Okay, so as you saw in the previous video that I put in here, the new brake lines have been installed. I have not bled them yet. I did get the master cylinder installed right here. All that's hooked up. We got the new brake lines in the front. I highly suggest, if you're doing a project of this age, that you go ahead and replace the brake lines. The reason being is that I thought that these brake lines were in good shape. They were not. So when I went to do the replacement for the shoes and everything on here, they basically just were corroding from the inside out, and corroded to the point where they didn't look rusted on the outside, but the insides were completely trashed. And so when I went to remove them, they just basically twisted off and broke. I had the two in the rears that did that. I had a couple in the middle and the fronts as well. So we've got all new brake lines on here now, front to back, new master cylinder. I've got all the new brake components in the drums as well on each wheel. So also going to show you here something else. I lost my heat shield that I originally had taken off of this. It's a master cylinder brake shield. I had to purchase a new one that goes between the exhaust downpipe and the master cylinder, I'm assuming to keep the brake fluid from boiling. Got my tank back from the storage unit. We're going to work on that soon too. I need to chemically strip it. I'm going to go ahead and repaint it and start working on lining it, because I think it's probably got a couple of pinholes in it due to the age. So we're going to go ahead and order some basically like a epoxy that goes in the inside of the tank, and it will seal it up completely, and it's resistant to oil and fuel and all that. So that'll be another video that I'll do here in the future. Again, I need to bleed the brakes. We still have that to do. I know it looks like a mess in here right now, so I apologize for that. But I'll get some stuff done on this pretty soon. We're about 4 months away from ordering a new body. Now, I did have a buddy of mine wanted to buy the M38 body from me. So we did it basically as a trade. I took him the body. He was going to give me $200, and I was going to be able to strip the parts off after looking at it. And you can see in the prior videos, I show the floorboards are gone, the hat channel's gone, the rear stiffener in the body's gone. So he is going to be patching those panels. He's already started that process. I'll throw some pictures in the video to show you what's been done to it so far. And we're working out a deal for me to possibly get it back from him and just pay him for his time and the parts that he has into it, so that we can keep the original body on the Jeep. So if that's the case, it will delay the project a little bit because those parts are on back order till February of 2025. So, you know, it may delay putting the body back on the Jeep until March or April of 2025 versus, you know, the new body going on in January. Also need to recover the seats. As you can see, these seats are trashed. The frames are good. They just need to be repainted. They're solid as a rock, so we just need to get some new seat covers, cushions, and I'm gonna put new boards underneath it as well, and then a new plate that goes in the bottom. There's a steel plate in the bottom of that underneath the seat. Other than that, that's the latest update. I still need to get in here, and I had to put the cover back on that Dana 44 in the rear to put the brake lines on, and I'm gonna have to take that back apart. I need to retorque all the ring gear bolts, and I need to go ahead and reseal it with a new gasket and retorque the diff cover. So I will shoot a video of that as well once we get to that point. I'm hoping that will be in the next few weeks. And then I'll show a video. I'll try to do a video of bleeding the brakes as well once we get to that point. I appreciate all of y'all that are following the videos. I know they've been kind of not been cranking them out very quickly lately, but I've had a lot going on, so eventually we'll get there. So I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Send any questions you've got. I'll be happy to answer them. And thanks for watching.